Hey, I'm Lisa and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna go on a bit of an introspective kind of monologue, asking you the question if motherhood should be hard all the time. So you might have noticed I've been doing quite a bit of content here on motherhood and identity. I did a whole sort of series of fun videos on motherhood and possibility. If you've been following me on Instagram, you know that I talk about this all the time. I've also started a daily Facebook live show around 10 a.m. Eastern on my Facebook, talking about all these things, but like really introspective things about motherhood. And so as a result, I've started to get to know some pretty amazing moms, totally like new, brand new faces, brand new perspectives. And it's been really interesting dialoguing with a lot of these moms. And one conversation has been really interesting. I put up a video on sort of possibility and the whole notion. I'm basically arguing that it is possible to follow your dreams and still be a good mom. Like it's possible to do both. And this one particular mom sent me a message really pushing back on this sort of idea. And not in a defensive way, but that she didn't really believe it was possible for a mom to pursue her dreams and be a present mom at the same time. So all this to say, it's gotten me thinking quite a bit about my own life and my own journey. I've shared with you guys in many videos, and I'll put some in the cards if you want to catch up. I used to live a life that was really, really hard all the time. Like just incredibly hard. Like I worked around the clock. I was literally leaving my house before my kids were getting up, and then I was coming home way later than after they went to bed. I practically I hardly saw them. I would see them on the weekends or in very small pockets because I was working so much. And it was really difficult. I don't know how else to say it. Like it was exhausting. I felt pulled in a million directions. My marriage was hanging on by a really, really, really bare thread. But I felt trapped. I felt like this is what I had to do. If I wanted to make it as a business owner, I had to work around the clock. And in my head, I was like, this is me providing for my family because I'm providing money, I'm providing opportunity. Like this is what happens. So I felt really, really confused, but I knew that something had to change. And if you watched my video on pain, I basically just had immense pain during that period, like pain all the time. I would go to work and I'd be so stressed that my kids were being neglected. I would spend time with my kids on the weekends or when I was home, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm dropping the ball on so many things. Clients are expecting things and I haven't gotten them to them, and I would feel guilty all the time. I would be with my husband and constantly looking at my phone, on and on and on. There was just pain, 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 pain all the time. And so since then, I have wonderfully, like there's a happy end to this story, I have made major changes. I had to, because I was going to literally, like my marriage was crumbling. I was never seeing my kids. I knew that I had to make changes. And so I started making a ton of changes that have really, really helped improve my quality of life. I've made changes in the way I work, in the number of hours I work, the nature of my business. I've made really significant improvements in boundaries so that I do see my children. For example, I don't work past 4 p.m. Unless it's a very unique circumstance. I like to be the one most days who drops off and picks up my kids from school. I could go on and on. There's so many things. Date nights with my husband are now automated in the sense that there's always a recurring weekly appointment. I know I have childcare. I know exactly when we're going on a date. And it's like an appointment that I would keep for anyone else. It's that high a priority. So I've made a lot of these changes. And just yesterday, I was on my date night with my husband, and I was telling him, like, I actually feel guilty that I don't have as much pain in my life. Like, and when I do look for pain, I figure out how to solve it. Like I figure out a way to diagnose, so to speak, the pain and make my life a little bit easier. And I'm actually now at a place where, yes, there's certain things in my life. There's always room for improvement. I'm not trying to say that I am perfect in every way. No, I'm not trying to say that at all. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that anytime I do realize that there's a part of my life that is painful, or there's something that I want to make better, I figure out a way to make it better. And I was telling him I actually feel really guilty about it. Like yesterday at dinner, I was like, I feel guilty that the struggle isn't as, when I look at other people, I'm like, is this fair that I don't have as much struggle anymore? Is this right? Is this normal? And you might be thinking I'm crazy by positing these things. Let me know in the comments if you have some feelings about what I'm saying. But then he asked me a question. He was like, well, what do you want for all the moms that you make all your content for? He literally just said, like, do you want them to live lives that are more peaceful, more meaningful, more pleasant, more fulfilling? And I was like, yeah, that's why I create all this stuff. And he was like, so why is it weird that you have it for yourself? And so it really just got me thinking about motherhood in general. And should motherhood be hard? Like, and is it bad if it's not hard? Like, is there something like to motherhood that requires hardness? I don't know. I believe that motherhood requires a lot of sacrifice, and sacrifice is inevitable. I'm not gonna strategize not nursing my baby in the middle of the night. You know what I mean? Certainly I could. Certainly I could get a wet nurse, or I could put the baby on a bottle and have somebody else give the baby a bottle in the middle of the night if I wanted to solve the pain point of, not having 8 hours of continuous sleep. But I don't want to do that. Like, I'm happy to make that sacrifice because breastfeeding is a priority that I have high, and I actually really like it. So it's not like, yes, it's painful, but I don't mind the sacrifice, if that makes sense. So I do believe that motherhood requires sacrifice. I'm not trying to say that it shouldn't. And I'm not saying that life doesn't have hard moments. I don't think that life should be easy all the time. But I don't think that motherhood should be hard all the time. And that's, I think, the distinction. That's the big key shift, if you will, in the paradigm of my life. When I look at the time when I had about 4 kids, like the year in question when I was working around the clock was my 4th baby. When I look at my life prior to my 4th child, it was hard all the time, like almost all the time. I made it hard for myself all the time. And when I look at my life post my 4th baby, it gets increasingly more peaceful. Again, it doesn't mean post my 4th baby, like I'm not tired. I'm tired. I'm literally tired all the time. I could literally just put on my business card, professional tired mom. But I'm a lot more peaceful. I'm a lot more fulfilled. And I think that's what I've sort of concluded in this interesting interior monologue on the topic of motherhood and should it be hard, is that it should not be hard all the time. Or at least it doesn't have to be hard all the time. And so what I would say is, if you currently are sitting here being like, that's great for you, Lisa, but my life isn't like yours. My life is hard. I feel you, girl, because again, I lived my life in so much hardness for so long. I created a lot of the hardness by chasing crazy amounts of career ambition, chasing like just a dream that, I don't know, like in the end I didn't really want and didn't really make me feel that good. And then when I changed things, I still had success, and that was the big, again, aha. You can work, you can follow your dreams, you can feel personally fulfilled and be a present wife and mom, but you've got to do it differently. At least in my experience, that's what it was. Before my 4th baby, I was working around the clock. Post my 4th baby, I changed things dramatically, but still felt fulfilled, even more fulfilled, like way more fulfilled, because I wasn't feeling the immense amount of mom guilt I felt before, constantly leaving my kids. Does this make sense? So yeah, what I think it boils down to at the end of it all is that I do not believe that motherhood should be hard all the time. It can be hard in certain seasons. It can be hard in certain pockets. There are certain things in my life that still are quite challenging. Like, I'm not trying to say that we don't have moments, or I'm not trying to argue that we shouldn't have moments like that, but that motherhood should not be constant survival mode. I believe that motherhood can be like manageable. Life as a mom can be manageable, and maybe that's the word, manageable. Like that, maybe that's the word that's like resonating with me right now. Let me know if it resonates with you. And let me know, like, what do you think? Is this bizarre? Is what I'm saying crazy? Does this make sense to you? Do you desire a life that is more manageable? And what are the steps that we need to take in order to make it more manageable? If you like this video, I'd love for you to give it a thumbs up and like leave me some comments. Like, let's talk about this. Like, should motherhood be hard? Is that just a reality of motherhood? Do you believe that motherhood can be manageable? I really want to hear from you. And for more content on motherhood, work-life balance, productivity, and design, hit the subscribe and that bell button. And until next time, cheers to designing your beautiful life.